What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rise and Grind podcast episode 2. Once again, we have my man here, Billy Ryan. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you, man?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. So before we get into, a good solid amount of questions you guys all asked, which I appreciate once again, you guys giving us some questions to talk about. What do you think of my new haircut? Pretty good.
Honestly, I liked it before with
Oh
with the
man.
mullet mohawk like I got going on. I need to get
Oh
mine
yeah.
trimmed, but I mean, it ain't bad. It looks good. Kind of a weird time of year to shave your head with it being
Yeah.
30 degrees out and whatnot.
I don't know what's with me. I'm always doing something different with my face. It's like I keep a beard, I shave it, I shave my head, I grow it out. Like I never know. I'm all
When
over
are
the
the
place.
when are the facial tattoos coming into play?
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like no,
never about probably never. Yeah.
no. I want to get my own face tattooed on my face. What do you think of that?
I have to see that. I have to Google that on someone just to see what that looks like first.
I'm sure someone has it.
Probably, yeah, probably. No, I'm more of like a just a forearm guy tattoo, so that's usually my go-to. But anyways, yeah, man. So how's your weekend? Like how's Thanksgiving? How's it been going?
Well, it's been good. As you know, I spent Thanksgiving alone. Now this is where everyone should comment and feel sorry for me. No, I'm just kidding. Being an introvert, it was totally fine. But with Chelsea being over in Vegas and my parents living all the way on the East Coast right now, I don't really have any family around here, which was fine. I cooked myself a 16-pound bird. Didn't eat it all. I still have a little bit left over. I did finish that 24-pound one that I picked up, about a week and a half ago. So I ate all
How
that. It
how
was
how long did it take you to eat it?
uh, gosh, 6, 7 days probably.
Oh,
It
okay,
was
yeah, not too
basically,
bad.
other than like having some whey protein, it was basically my protein source for that for that entire,
Yeah.
33 cents a pound. You can't beat that. And
Holy
I'm
cow,
still not
yeah.
sick of it. Yeah.
That's pretty. I mean, what's chicken like? Was it over like a little bit over $1 a pound or something? Or
It's
like,
like around $1.80 to $2 a pound,
yeah,
typically.
shoot. I know I
Yeah.
saw that and I was like, I mean, yeah, let's do it, man. I sure if it works for you, that's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Oh man, yeah. No, I mean our Thanksgiving, we basically has her family here, so mine was pretty good. Just sat back, relaxed, didn't do a whole lot. So but yeah, moving forward, kind of getting into your gym setup, I kind of was curious about. I knew you got a new piece recently, a lat pull down. I'm kind of curious, like, how do you like it? Does it feel pretty good?
Yeah, it's certainly not commercial grade, but for a plate loaded machine, Titan Fitness, I think, did a really good job on that. It feels pretty smooth. Could be smoother,
Yeah.
but I have a lot of attachments, so I think that's really makes that quite a versatile piece of equipment, because you could do low cable rows on it as well.
Oh,
You could do
yeah.
tricep push downs, you could do standing like bicep curls, cable curls, which I don't really like. I'd rather use my wall mounted table or cable tower for the curls and the press downs. It's a little bit smoother there, but in terms of being able to lock myself into position while doing a pull down, it's pretty sweet.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it looks like it works pretty well. So how do you like that mag grip? Because I've been telling you, I've been wanting to get that, but does it feel good? Like, how's that
Oh
feel?
yeah, it's awesome. I was a little bit concerned that, grip would be a factor,
Yeah.
since you can't get straps around it, but how they build it, it's like part of it goes down your forearm. So it really kind of takes the grip slightly out of it.
Oh wow,
And
really?
oh, it's amazing. I
Oh,
really, really do like that grip. But it does incorporate some of the forearm and grip strength, but that's
sure.
not really a necessarily a bad thing. I just don't put it first in my rotation, because I put it in there when my lats are already kind of a little bit fried. So therefore my forearms aren't going to be the limiting factor. Typically my lats and my back will be.
Yeah. Yeah, for you guys listening, I think that's one of the biggest things that made my the difference in my back development was obviously over time mind muscle connection, really feeling the movements because a lot of times I just was swinging weight, but I was so focused on doing back movements with trying to build forearms at the same time. And Billy was one that recommended like, dude, we're trying to build the back, take the grip out of it and use your back, don't let your forearms burn out before what it is your back can do. So for me that made a huge difference because say I'm doing a barbell row, like doing 185, my grip would give out before, my back was fried. So that has made a big difference. So I recommend, trying that too. Um, so I think we talked about it a little bit on our last podcast, but are you officially retired? Like what's your plans? Are you just kind of, wanting to downsize a little bit, just stay where you're at? Are you plan on doing any shows at all in the future?
It's kind of up in the air. I'm down about 15 pounds from my peak in about 5 weeks. Not even really necessarily trying, just pulling back food a little bit,
Yeah.
playing around with my macros. Right now, I'm kind of experimenting. I've really kind of been very dogmatic in my approach, macronutrient wise, for myself, where I'd be more of a high carb, kind of limiting my fat intake kind of guy. And I've noticed that over the course of years, I typically, when I'm pushing food, believe it or not, I get like reactive hypoglycemia,
Hmm.
where after a pretty high carb meal, my pancreas will dump too much insulin, and before my next meal, I'll end up going hypoglycemic to the point where I'm like, I need to eat at least 5 grams of carbs right now, or I feel like I'm going to go down. I'm going to
Oh
pass
wow.
out.
Yeah.
So I've just recently upped my fats to about 25% of my caloric intake for the day, and it's making a difference. I've dropped weight
Hmm.
simply, I think, because I'm feeling better. I'm moving more. My energy levels are more sustainable,
Hmm.
and my calories are still roughly the same. So I think it's more of a factor of NEAT and maybe even a small amount of thermic effect food, which really doesn't make too much difference. But kind of a long-winded answer there. I honestly don't know. I believe the plan is tentatively to start dieting down a little bit near February or March,
Hmm.
whether it be for competing or just for the hell of it, to see what I look like when I peel back some layers. But I'm certainly done with trying to play my cards to become as massive as I can.
Yeah.
It's not genetically, it's not in my cards. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to do some things that are going to be extremely deleterious to my health.
Hmm.
And with all the deaths lately and, me coming up on 40 here relatively soon, I don't think it's really a good idea. And I still love training. I still love the sport, but I don't think I'm going to necessarily push for that, increase in tissue with, with the exception of doing it just within the confines of my doctor prescribed therapy for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it all makes sense. But hey, say around February, we could be doing that whole dieting process together. Hopefully, if we end up
Yeah.
stepping on stage, maybe, so.
Yeah. Like if I get lean enough and I'm feeling well, like honestly, with my last dieting phase, I think when I was in the moment, I didn't think I would have done well because I was still 5 weeks out. But looking back on it and what everyone has said, everyone's like, dude, you would have done some damage. Like you were peeled. And now when I look back on it, I had like glute striations, like
Yeesh.
ab veins for miles. My quads had cross striations pretty much everywhere. So I was definitely lean enough where at least at the regional level, I could have done really well.
Hmm.
But, you know, who knows? You know how it is, the mind games,
Yeah.
right? Even with
Yeah.
your prep, even though we pulled the plug a little bit early there, you got leaner than you've ever been in your life. And at
Yep.
the time, you're looking at it and you're going, I'm not lean enough. But when you look back on it, you go, holy crap, I was pretty diced,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's crazy, that mind game. Cause like, yeah, looking at when I remember when I was that lean, and as I took those progress photos, I was like, man, I look like crap. Like, I just feel like I'm like, I look all right, whatever. But then when I look at myself now, I'm a lot bigger now, but looking back, I was like, holy cow, that's leaner than I realized in that moment. So it is pretty crazy, looking back at like different pics and progresses and just where you were. So yeah, guys, if you're on a journey, take pics, see where, things have come up, how you guys progress. Those are important. So, all right, well, let's move on to some questions. And this is one that we might have some disagreements, but I don't know, maybe we'll see what your opinion is. So, when you're doing a leg press, and I'm glad someone actually mentioned this because I see this happen a lot when I'm working out at the gym. Do you leave one plate? Do you take them all off? Like how does that work? Do you? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, well, in my home gym, I say take everything off
Yeah.
simply because there is, I mean, those machines are designed to handle a lot of weight, right?
Yeah.
However, I don't think the intention in the design was meant for it to have that weight left on it.
Mm,
Now, whether or not it really does break it down a little bit mechanically is yet to be seen. We know, for example, if you have a barbell on a bench press and you have a bunch of plates on it, it's going to warp the bar over time, without a doubt. So if
yeah.
you think about it, even if it's putting that little bit of resistance on the bearings or the wheels, whatever sort of system rollers that it's using, I wouldn't necessarily think that would be a good thing. So I guess in a commercial gym, yeah, leave one plate on, because who's going to do it empty? I really
Hmm.
don't think anyone is, even like Grandma Jones would probably have a plate on there. So I guess in that situation on a leg press, you could leave a plate on it. But I'm kind of in the school of thought, remove all the plates,
Okay.
clean
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah. I whenever I'm on the leg press, like I don't know, I'm throwing on like 6 plates each side doing it, and then as I'm unracking it, I'm like get down to one plate, and I'm always in my head like, and I'll just leave this one. But then and then in the distance, I'm like, I bet there's some dude over there like he better take that last plate off. So I'm like, oh, screw it, I'll take it all off.
Being
Like, you
judged.
know, maybe there's just some person just starting out just wanting to feel the leg press with no weight. So I was like, whatever, I'll take it off either way. I mean, how much, how much could that hurt? So
Burn a little bit of extra calories. Why
yeah,
not?
true. We burn a little bit more.
Like
So
3, 2,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. So all right, guys. Well, I guess unrack your leg press. So,
Unrack your weights,
or I
kids.
mean, unrack your weights.
Gym
Yes.
etiquette. And put the darn dumbbells away. Don't leave the hundreds on the floor. Those people who work there have to put them away. That's not cool.
Yeah. Man, to tell you guys, I told Billy about this, but the other day I was working at the gym, uh, and it was late at night. Couple people up there. I was closing, and I just happened to put some things away, and some guy had a deadlift bar just sitting there. I think it was 4.5 plates each side. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, just the lack of etiquette. Like, why wouldn't you put some of them away? You leave 4.5 plates on a bar, and it just, all right, I'm leaving. Like, I don't get it sometimes, but oh,
Powerlifter mentality, burn as few calories as possible so you can be as strong as possible.
yeah, that could be
Nothing
it.
against powerlifters, but I
Yeah,
love powerlifting. I think it's great.
yeah. Is that something you'd ever do?
I thought about it for a while, but I don't think so. Just because how many people get injured really doing bodybuilding, training in the 8 to 30 rep range for the most part,
Yeah,
how many people get injured powerlifting, going for 2 rep maxes? One, come on, you know,
yeah,
it's not worth it for me.
yeah. That's a sport I watch just because I'm like, holy cow, the amount of weight he's lifting. But man, it scares me. Like, you go for a squat, you never know what's gonna happen. Like, the other day, I watched. He's a big bodybuilder, and I think he was doing. I think he just wanted to do some heavy weight, but his knee caved in. And it was on a Smith machine, and oh my goodness, like I can't imagine trying to go for a. I don't know. That stuff just scares me. So I'm too much of a big baby to do that sport. What about CrossFit? What's your thoughts on that?
I love CrossFit. I think
Do
it's
you?
awesome. My views have totally changed. I don't think people who are unskilled should try to take on CrossFit. I think that you
Mm-hmm.
should really learn the motor patterns, the movements, and everything, doing them correctly first. But I mean, I hate to say it, CrossFit. Well, I guess I don't hate to say it. CrossFit builds some amazing physiques.
Yeah.
Like, check out, like, especially ladies, muscle on a female looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Muscle, when, for my opinion, and no hate against anyone who does this, muscle on a female with heavy androgen anabolic use can look good until it gets to the point where everything kind of changes.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal opinion. I still think it's awesome, but I think CrossFit ladies and guys and circles and everything in between just look amazing. Because have you ever seen their abs, dude? Like, their abs are always popping.
Oh yeah,
It's amazing.
I watched it thing the other day because it was Chris Bumstead. He just did this thing with Gymshark, and they did CrossFit stuff. And the main guy that took him through that workout, he took his shirt off, and I was like, holy cow, he had the best abs even out of the bodybuilders. Like, he looked amazing, and big legs, shredded abs. His he went through that workout like it was nothing. So
They train
uh,
hard, man. They train
I
hard.
maybe you can tell me this. Like I don't get why is there jokes when people say, oh, CrossFit? Like what is with that? Like I guess I don't quite understand. Like they literally do. If I did a competition, I would die. Like that would kill me. At
Well,
least right now.
CrossFit had a bad rap just simply because of the amount of people that were trying it that were gen pop and getting injured, and the
Mm,
fact that there were so many CrossFit facilities that would take anyone on as like a client and have them in their class, and these people would be hurting themselves.
yeah.
Well, because they don't know how to do the movements properly. You can't be expecting someone to do it at super high intensity like that if they don't even know how to do it in the first place. So
Mm,
that's kind
makes
of where the
sense.
whole meme, if you will, started with CrossFit, everyone kind of hating on it. And I agree that that was bad. And they've really, really shifted the sport a little bit.
Hmm.
And I think for the better. So I'm totally fine with CrossFit. I think it might be something that I would probably do that before powerlifting, to be honest.
I
I
agree.
like that
Yeah.
kind of training. I like, you know how I am with the high reps. Like, for example, last week, for some reason, like I didn't even program this into my leg day, but I decided that, 3 plates per side on my leg press is probably equivalent to what, 5 or 6 on a commercial one.
Yeah.
I decided to do like a rest pause set and just kind of see where I end up. And I ended up at like 65 reps and I started throwing up in my mouth a little bit. So I was like, because I honestly, I couldn't really catch my breath.
Yeah.
And I tried to get up and I couldn't. So I had to like lay like sideways because I was like this, because I thought I was going to puke. Nothing would have came up though. I trained fasted, but that's the
Yeah.
kind of training that I love that. I don't know what it is. I like going to that place with like higher reps. So I think
Mhm.
CrossFit would it'd probably kill me. Don't get me wrong at first, but I think it'd be something that I would become addicted to in a good
Yeah.
way.
No, I agree. I don't know if I ever told you this, but before I worked with you, and I was still in college, I was here in Illinois and they had a free CrossFit session going on somewhere in Rockford. And I was like, yeah, I'll try that out, whatever. I got invited by a friend. I was like, I'll try it out and see how it goes. Man, I barely made it through that workout. Holy cow. Like I'm the bodybuilding style versus their style it's a whole different ball game. And man, that killed me. Like we did deadlifts to shoulder press, and then we had a box that we would hop over and do push-ups, like burpees actually. So push up to a burpee. And then we would do, I don't even know, a certain amount of a run, come back, and then go through it all again. Like, and we did that for 30 straight minutes. And as your partner finished one of the things, then you would do it. And then as he finished, then you would go. Like there was not very many breaks. I loved it, but man, I struggled because it was all new. So I agree. Like I would do that before powerlifting. It was fun, but and they were like, "Come back." I never did.
You're like, you probably killed me a little bit too much to make
Yeah,
that very enticing.
it
Yeah.
was it was just really cool because like it was really hard, but it was just one of those things that you could just take everything out and just have fun throwing weight around if like properly, not just going crazy. But they still like
Oh,
throw it around.
you're not like chucking dumbbells at each other like dodgeball with the 30s.
No. Gosh, maybe no. But it was just like one of those things that it's not as controlled as it is like bodybuilding. So it was just kind of fun with a change of pace, just really going at the weight and just ripping your shirt off and just sweating and everyone just in a group just doing it. So it was pretty fun. So have you ever actually done it before, like
No,
with at a CrossFit place? No. Okay.
no. I mean, I've trained that way before, but not at an actual facility with someone like tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, maybe one day. I still like doing what I'm doing right now. So
Sure. Yeah, no, that's good. Um, so next question we have on here says, how long did it take for you to stick to a diet slash meal plan to maintain a healthy lifestyle? And reading that, I'm trying to grasp exactly what it is she's asking. Does that kind of make sense?
yeah, no, I think, and she could correct us if I'm wrong. I think she's talking about consistency and adherence
Hmm.
without going off the deep end. Like kind of like the whole, you're doing well for 2 weeks and then you binge, doing well
Yeah.
for a week and then you binge. So I think this really does come down to, and I'll kind of share, my experience in a moment, but it comes down to understanding what you can do consistently long term
Hmm.
that doesn't feel too difficult. And I mean, if you go each and every day and you feel as if it's so restrictive that you're just trying to count down the days, it's not going to work. You're going to end up
Yeah.
binging.
Yeah.
So that's where I was for probably a good year and a half. I would binge like crazy on the weekends, maybe 2 years. And then during the week, all I ate really was chicken breast, oatmeal, broccoli, eggs. That's
Oh
it.
yeah. Oof.
Yes,
Just plain.
plain. I thought salt was bad. I thought spices were bad. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So, and then on the weekend, it would be like me and my buddy John, we go to there were a couple places. There was just one place, it was a burrito place, but they had something called, was it the super burrito or the killer burrito? I don't know. All I know, ultimate burrito. It
Mm.
was literally like an 8-pound burrito.
Holy cow,
Bro, it
really?
was like this long. It was like a foot and a half, super fat. And we would try to eat that whole thing after a night of drinking every weekend. And there were a couple
Oh my
times where, I
gosh.
did get the whole thing down. And then there was another place we went to and they had the big beef. It was basically a 2 foot long Italian beef that was dipped. And then they would give you fries with it, but the fries wasn't an order of fries. They'd fill up a lunch bag full of
Oh,
fries.
oh, kind of like Five Guys type thing.
More than that, though. I mean, it was
More.
literally like the whole lunch bag was filled.
Oh,
And
jeez.
and it was so greasy that I remember one time John was walking with it into the house and it just fell through the bag on my driveway. It was
Jeez.
awesome. Still ended up eating it. You can't waste that. So
Oh, gee.
now to answer her question, I think I really didn't get under control in something that I could stick to until I understood macronutrients
Mhm.
and the fact that I could have foods that I enjoyed within my allotment for the day without going crazy. Like if I want that Pop Tart, I don't have to wait until Saturday and have a list of all the foods that I'm going to eat and binge like crazy.
Mhm.
I can figure out, okay, I have 300 grams of carbohydrates or whatever it may be and 60 grams of fat. I'm going to plug this into my food for the day and I'm going to have that at the end of the night with my last meal. And I'm going to build my diet around it for that day. Still hit my macros, still got the majority of my food that was good. So probably about 2 years it took me to really understand that nutrition was more than just about following a specific set of foods.
Yeah,
So
no, that's great advice. And this is something I feel like we talk about forever. I go on and on with some people about this that, you know, they say just plain, salads, none of these like sauces, spices, don't do any of those. Salt's bad, just kind of like what you said. And man, I'm all about balance, and I don't understand how, if the diet that you did, as you said, you couldn't even follow it. But like if you were to eat basically with the diet that you said, like I don't know anyone in that could follow something like that forever. Like that's just not attainable. So to
yeah,
basically say stuff like sugar-free sauces, diet cokes, whatever, like you can't have at all. So pretty much you're supposed to eat plain foods for the rest of your life. Like there's no way to sustain that. So if you
yeah,
look at the table, like having a balance in eating those good foods with a little bit of stuff that make it taste good, you're gonna stick to it way longer. So it's gonna benefit you way longer versus just not doing any of that. So
absolutely.
that's pretty
Yeah.
much what you said. But like that's just, I argue with people about this so much because they're like, Diet Coke is terrible for you, and this
Show
is
me the studies.
true. Yeah.
That's all I always say. Show me the study. And then they show you a study that, they cherry pick it, that one in the rats or the mice or whatever, where they ate like 5 times their body weight in sucralose and they ended up developing cancer.
Hmm.
Nobody's going to eat 5 times their body weight in sucralose in a day as a human, and we're also not mice. So show me the human study, and once that comes out and it passes like research reviews and peer study, it's peer reviewed, and everyone confirms it, then okay, now you have a valid point.
Hmm.
But until
Yeah.
then,
Yep. I agree. I mean, I learned a lot of this from you. Is like, don't always just go what you always hear. Do your research, see what it is that studies say, because from down the line, guys, like there's so many things that people say that actually aren't right. They just hear it and so many people go along with it, you just think that's the way it goes. But honestly, I was in the same boat as a lot of these people I argue with today, but then from studies and working with Billy, like it's been a game changer. And I'm able to stick to a diet consistently, enjoy it at the same time, and make progress and reach the goals that I want to reach. So yeah, honestly, I guess it's just about having balance. But when you go into something full on and restrict yourself completely from everything, yeah, you can't stick to that.
Yeah, you know what? Real quick, speaking of which, I don't know if you noticed that Sweet Baby Ray's has a no sugar added barbecue sauces now.
Oh, do they?
Oh, it's amazing. It's
Holy
amazing.
cow. All
The
right.
macros aren't quite as good as G Hughes. G Hughes like 2 grams of carbs. I think these are 3 or 4. But
But
oh
still,
my dude, it tastes just like Sweet Baby Ray's. Although I haven't had it in a while.
yeah.
I bought like 6 of them.
So you took the shelf. You just emptied the shelf.
Yeah, dude. Like they have hickory, they have sweet and spicy, and they have original. They're all good.
Where do you just Walmart, Meyer, wherever?
Yeah, Walmart has it, Meyer has it, and it's under
Okay.
$3 a bottle right now. That'll probably go up once they see that people are buying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's
Okay.
totally
Well, I'll have
worth
to
it.
try that out. See, guys, stuff like that. Like, just you have chicken, put some, spices on it, add some of that sugar-free sauce. Like, it's not gonna hurt you, and you'll enjoy it at the same time. It's not gonna be this plain stuff you dread every day. So yeah, give that a shot and see how that works. But I guess is a good transition into what is your opinion, or what do you prefer? Do you like just, I guess you kind of already answered it, but let's just talk about it a little bit. Do you like if it fits your macros, or do you prefer here's your diet plan, stick to that, and make alterations, basically stick to that and figure out what it is that doesn't work for you, that type deal. So what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so I want to set the record straight here. There's definitely a difference between if it fits your macros and flexible dieting.
Okay.
If it fits your macros is basically, and it's not always this, but people abuse it to this level where some people see how much junk food they could fit into their macros for the day. That
Mm,
is what I've seen far too many times, and I fell into that group for a while just for funsies. I saw how much cereal I could fit into my carbs, Pop Tarts, like uh, it was horrendous. And I do believe that food quality does matter. I've changed my tune on
mhm,
this. I think it's important to make sure that you are getting enough leucine content in each and every meal, meaning that you do want to have high quality, complete protein sources. Because think about animal protein, and no offense to any of the vegans or vegetarians out there, it is very, very micronutrient rich. You're going to get a lot of your B vitamins, a lot of things that you can't get from other food sources. Your leucine content is going to be nice and high. So I think that it's important that you do select foods that are nutritious for the most part. And I think an 80-20 rule is probably pretty good, where 80% of your calories should come from roughly single ingredient whole foods like, potatoes, meats, uncured, regular meats, dairy products that don't have a bunch of added stuff, fruits, vegetables, nuts, butters, oils, like,
mhm,
grass-fed butter, stuff like that. But I am not a huge fan of a meal plan because, again, we're going back to that sustainability factor. If you have the same meal plan every single day, are you going to be able to continue that for the rest of your life? I can't think of anyone that's going to want to eat the same damn meals every single day for the rest of their life without binging or
mhm.
without thinking that they need a cheat meal or a cheat day, which you already know where I stand on that.
Yeah.
So I think flexible dieting done smartly, if that's a word, is the way to go.
So what you just described in the beginning with people trying to fit in Pop Tarts and cookies and everything into their carb amount, you're saying that is more towards if it fits your macros?
No. I think you kind of misunderstood them. Let me just kind of expound on that. Can you fit a little bit of cookies in Pop Tarts and cereal? Yes. But
Right.
I think that should only make up roughly about 20% of your daily calorie allotment for the day.
Okay.
So yeah, but I feel like a lot of people abuse it and they try to fit as much junk food as they can into their diet. Like, oh, well, I'm eating 4,000 calories a day. My meals are going to be literally, I'll drink egg whites and then I'll have cereal. And they do that for like every meal. And then it's like, oh, the end of the day, gosh, I'm very low on fats. I'm going to have a bunch of Reese's peanut butter cups. Okay, dude,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, no, I agree. What you eat definitely will change the way you feel, the way you perform in the gym, how you recover, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It's definitely not going to change anything from a weight loss or a weight gain perspective if calories are equal
Yeah.
to an extent, because thermic effect of food, we could kind of split hairs there. I don't think it's as substantial as people say, but you're not going to perform well. You're not
Hmm.
going to feel well. Your body is not going to enjoy it. If you do have any sort of digestive issues, you're more prone to, producing more gut bacteria. Maybe you're going to have permeability in your intestinal walls, end up with SIBO or SIFO, which nobody wants. So, I mean, yeah, food quality does matter.
Hmm. So I guess say this could almost be advice for like the general public. Do you have a different thought process on someone that's wanting to compete for a show, or does it everything still apply? As
I
far as
personally,
far as far as like same meals or just like the flexible dieting within the macros.
yeah, I would give that as general advice. I think that that would be applicable to pretty much anyone for the most part.
Yeah.
But there are some people who do prefer meal plans, especially during like a contest prep. I
Hmm.
can understand that because realistically, maybe you're dieting for 12 to 24 weeks, somewhere in that ballpark.
Hmm.
I could follow a meal plan that long, half a year, no problem.
Yeah.
But do I want to do that for the rest of my life? No.
True. Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that during our first prep we experienced with both. And I could do either either one, but I could see I could be more consistent with changing my meals as I could throughout the day. Still eating those good quality foods, but like, if I got tired of chicken, I could do ground turkey. It wasn't the same thing every day in and out. So that worked well for me. So I'm definitely a big fan of that as well. All right. So what is your favorite split? Do you have a favorite split?
Now, a little bit of context to this: favorite and optimal for muscle growth are probably two different things. So what typically works? Oh, there's a ladybug in here. I hope it doesn't bite me. They do bite, dude. I
Do
don't know if
they?
you ever. Oh yeah,
Oh,
dude. Oh,
I've
it
never,
hurts. It hurts.
does it really?
They'll take a chunk out of you, my man. Yeah,
Oh,
don't get bit by one.
oh,
So,
geez.
and
Okay.
it's I think those yellow ones. That's what that is. I think they are the biters. So,
Watch
anyhow,
out.
I know. Optimal, typically myself, I've noticed a frequency of like 2 to 3 times per week per muscle group, with roughly, an overall equated volume of roughly 16 to 24 sets per muscle group, depending. Typically optimal. But if I want to talk about having fun, I think a bro split is one of the most fun things that you could do. You
Hmm.
just go in and blast the heck out of a body part for the day. But from optimal muscle growth perspective, I think it's very suboptimal because there's a lot of research. And I think James Krieger was one, and Brad Schoenfeld perhaps, who basically said that the threshold for a daily volume amount of sets per body part is roughly 10, in the context that you're going to get a lot of diminishing returns after 10 sets because the muscle is going to be so fatigued.
Hmm.
So if you were to hit a muscle for 20 sets in one session, your overall equated volume will probably be substantially lower than if you split it up and came in, you did 10 sets on Monday and 10 sets on Thursday, because the muscle is going to be fresh. And you know this from experience, the first couple sets, the first few, maybe 5 sets, you're going to be able to use a lot higher of a load than
Hmm.
you would on the remaining 5 to, and then another 10 after that. The muscles are going to be fried. Whereas if you came back a little bit more fresh on Thursday again, you're going to be able to have a higher load.
Yeah.
So overall, you'll get more weekly equated volume. So from an enjoyment perspective, bro splits are fun, but I think they are suboptimal for most people.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing with a bro split was like, I enjoy going into the gym and doing that one body part where you get the most massive pump out of it. You just destroy it. But then you got to wait a whole other week to train it again. So it's
Yeah,
like, if you have a
sucks.
favorite body part, I'm like, so I really don't know if that'd be my favorite or not. I mean, it's fun, but I want to train like chest or arms or just whatever it is that's your favorite. Again, I don't want to wait a week. So
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
yeah, but that is a good illustration for like most optimal. Even though I see a lot of people that do that and they make some progress, me personally, my progress has gone way up, training each body part uh more throughout the week rather than just doing it one day at a time. So um yeah, I'd say that's pretty good advice. So uh what's your favorite body part to train?
Legs, without
Legs.
question. Yeah.
Oh geez. I feel like if I didn't say legs, I'd be like this guy people would hate on.
You don't have,
You
no, you got
can't
to be
train
honest.
hard.
Hey, you got to be honest. A lot of people hate training legs. I just love the mental battle that
Yeah.
is legs. And like, honestly, like squatting takes a lot of technique. Free weight squats really takes a lot of technique.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, and I might get flames for this, that when you're locked into a leg press or a hack squat or a leg extension, it's really hard to mess it up.
Yeah.
It is really hard to not stimulate the quads.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know anyone that could go through a full range of motion on a leg press and not stimulate their quads.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know people who could go through a full range of motion on a bicep curl and barely get any bicep recruitment.
I was gonna say, yeah, I feel like that's the way it is with legs, but for upper body, you could kind of work through that without stimulating at all, right?
Yeah,
Or is
you
there
could
certain
cheat
movements you could?
so much, like
Yeah.
lat pull downs, for example. Like any sort of pressing variation for the chest. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
experience this firsthand. You have a hard time recruiting your chest on many, many different movements, which is
Mm-hmm.
totally normal. It happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that's why I really think, loading up a hack squat with substantial amount of weight, you could really just focus on the pain instead
Mm-hmm.
of super focused on trying not to cheat with other body parts. It's just, I don't know. I just absolutely love it. I love the pain of it, the burn, the pump, how all the blood rushes to that area and you feel a little bit dizzy.
Yeah.
Everything about it. Everything about it.
Well, guys, if you should see his gym. It's mainly 3/4 of it is leg stuff. So I guess
Yeah, it makes
he's
sense,
not
right?
lying. He's not lying. So, and the pieces you have, I mean, they feel amazing. So I love training legs at your gym. Um, my favorite. Oh, see, with legs, it's like a on and off type relationship. Some days I go in and it feels amazing. The squat feels comfortable. I'm moving good weight. I love it. And I love grinding through that. But then, 2 weeks later, I'm hitting a workout with legs and nothing feels good. But I guess that is with any workout, but it's just I'm off and on with legs. Sometimes my favorite, sometimes it's not. But I'd have to say my most consistent favorite, even though I don't feel it, I'm still trying to make to like feel the movements is probably my chest. Because once I, pick those movements that feel really well, the pump and just everything feels great. So I love that.
Yeah, it does feel good.
What would say is your least favorite?
Calves.
Okay, I'd expect, yeah. That okay. I agree with you
You
there.
notice there was no hesitation there. It was
Dude,
just,
you didn't even
dude,
hesitate.
no,
That's
sucks.
funny. You guys
That's
should
why they
comment
suck.
below. Comment below if you guys agree with that one.
Yeah.
So, um, I mean, I agree with that, but my struggle is probably shoulders. Like, shoulders is like, I love it whenever it's like, the pump's in there, but the pain from shoulders like almost hurts so much sometimes.
That's funny because it's my second favorite body part to train.
Is it really?
I love the pain of an excruciating pump from a lot of laterals.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
nothing like it, man. It feels so good.
See, I almost think like it's part of that, and also because I'm just dealing with some shoulder issues that the movement is like hit or miss for how good it feels, and it just drives me nuts. I just want to go in there, work out hard, and some days it feels good, some days it doesn't. So when I get to a shoulder workout, I'm like, which day is it gonna be today? Like, is it gonna bother me? So I don't know. I guess that could be mine, but probably shoulders, but calves is number one. Calves suck. If you guys naturally have big calves genetically, feel very thankful. My father-in-law, it's kind of funny. He would hate me to bring this up, but whatever, he won't listen to this, so let's do it anyways. He has the biggest calves, like they are humongous. And when he wears shorts, he'll like pull up his shorts to show his quad to calf ratio. His calf is literally bigger than his whole like quad
Are you
around.
serious?
Like I'm literally not even joking. Like
Either he has the biggest calves in the world, or he also has some of the smallest quads in the world, because I don't think I've
It's
ever
both.
seen that. Oh my
It's,
gosh.
I
You know, that like that typically is like, that's a gen pop, you know, like so many people are just like, the proportions are weird.
yeah, I know. And his is almost like he's set up well because he also has like these big forearms. So it's like if he wears a t-shirt and long shorts, people are like, oh, he's big. He looks good. Like
He's Popeye.
so yeah, he's just it's funny.
Does
It's
he walk
funny.
around with cans of spinach and stuff?
Yeah, right. No, he probably hates I think he hates vegetables. I think he's a lot like me. But
Y'all
yeah,
don't know what you're missing.
I know. That's a battle with me as vegetables. I'm not a
Dude,
fan.
I have like 6 to 7 servings a day
Do
without
you
question.
really?
Oh yeah.
Which one is your favorite? What's your go-to?
Broccoli and green beans are my two favorites.
Gosh, I don't like either of
Yeah.
those. What is wrong with me?
It's part of it's probably how you were raised. If like you weren't raised to eat vegetables, you probably don't like vegetables.
Yeah, I don't think I ate very many. I feel like they had them, but I just was always like, nah, I'm good.
I didn't have a
Yeah.
choice. It's
Oh,
like, you eat your
really?
vegetables. Yeah, eat your
Yeah.
damn vegetables. All right. So thanks, mom and dad, because now I really love them.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Um, so this is kind of a funny question someone brought up because I think we're both wearing them now. Are those blue light glasses?
They are not.
Oh, they're not. Are they
Dude,
actually?
why are you wearing, I told you, why are you wearing your blue light blockers so early in the day?
Because I feel smarter. Okay. I don't.
Dude, wear them near bedtime. You're gonna mess up your circadian rhythm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh
You
boy.
want
Okay.
light during the day,
Yeah.
and you want no light when you're ready to go to bed.
Okay. Gotcha. I usually don't wear them. I just hopped on here and I naturally just grabbed them. Um,
I know I'm
but
giving you a hard time, but folks, listen to your coach. Read through the read through what he says. I told you that. You probably
yeah,
forgot. I tell you a lot of stuff. So
yeah. No, you do have a lot of good information. Um, so what are
except for the thing about masturbating first thing in the morning. You
oh,
didn't like that one.
yeah, I hated that one. No, I was just um so these glasses are blue light glasses, and someone commented, are blue light glasses fake? Like
Honestly, there's not much literature backing their efficacy. Um, as of right now, the best thing that we have is anecdotal evidence. But I honestly think that even if it is placebo and it helps, then why the hell not? You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like, I mean, it's like, take this pill, you're going to be stronger. Have you ever seen those studies where like they even did this with like Dianabol and stuff, and people who had placebo still got stronger
okay,
because they
yeah,
thought that they were taking Dianabol and
uh-huh,
they weren't. So if placebo works and it gets a good desired outcome, I don't see anything wrong with it. But there's
yeah,
really not too much information because it's such a new field.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's mainly my wife. She makes fun of me because she says, "Why are you wearing glasses? You don't need those." And I'm like, "Hey, coach said so." No,
Yeah,
no,
blame me, blame the coach.
yeah, that's what I do. I usually blame Billy.
That's all right.
No, she says they're fake because they're not actually glasses you need, but they help me. If I'm not in front of a TV for long hours or whatever, like I don't know. I guess I don't get the same effect as if I'm wearing them versus when I'm not. So why not?
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
So this is a big question that I don't know a whole lot about, but you're on here, so I think this would be a good question, a good topic to talk about. Purpose of carb cycling. How is the I guess my thought with that, the number one thing was basically minimizing as much fat gain as you can while you're in a surplus. Is that basically the process of that?
I mean, it could be utilized in a lot of different contexts. You could utilize it in a maintenance phase, a gaining phase, a fat loss phase, but it really does come down to like personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Honestly, I think if we look at the total weekly uh, calorie burden, if it was exactly the same across the board, I don't think you would notice much difference unless there were other variables at play, like you moved around more on the days that you got carbs and it helped you burn more calories via NEAT and other sort of factors, then you might see a little bit more fat loss from that, but it's not necessarily the carb cycling in and of itself that's doing that. So can carb cycling work? Absolutely. I know that Fuad Abiad's a big fan of it. He likes to cycle his carbs. I don't see anything wrong with it. For example, if you wanted to have more of your carbs on leg day, because everyone thinks, leg day, it burns so many more calories, which has pretty much been disproven by now, and it helps you push harder, then it's going to work. But again, it's more of a placebo effect. So absolutely nothing wrong with it. If you've noticed, like for your macronutrients, we have your carbohydrate load a lot lower on off days. Now, why did I do that? Because I think that for most individuals, if you aren't training for that day, you're going to be, it's going to be a lot easier for you to just not consume as much food. Whereas sometimes if you feel wrecked after a workout, you feel psychologically that you need more food. Do you necessarily need more food? Probably not, because we know that bodybuilding training is not that intensive, folks. It may feel like it in the moment, but it really isn't. You're not running marathons or doing a triathlon, but it does have its place. So I know that really didn't answer the question. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it, but I think it is kind of splitting hairs. It's just another tool in the tool belt.
Sure. Yeah. So you think lowering those carbs on off days doesn't affect your recovery at all? Like I know, protein helps you recover, and our protein is the same throughout. So lowering that carbs has no effect on how well you recover, how well you get ready for that next session.
Correct. Because glycogen depletion will actually be restored within 24 hours, even if you are consuming a relatively high amount of protein, because protein will, if your body needs it, go through a process called gluconeogenesis, where we'll convert it into carbohydrate, and your liver will make sure that your body has enough carbohydrate for that next training session. Because if it were true that you needed carbohydrate in order to train, I would have passed out every single training session for the past 2 years, because I trained fasted. After roughly 13 hours without food, I train. And I've had my best sessions so far in my life since I got used to and adapted to training fasted, simply because vomiting held me back a lot before, where I would throw up, or at least throw up in my mouth a little, and then I wouldn't be able to push through it mentally because I would feel crap and I'd be thinking about, am I going to puke again?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
also I was going to add that on training days, or off days, I should say, not that you necessarily do need an insulin spike, it's going to be more advantageous on the days that you train, simply because you're kind of countering that by driving down insulin levels and blood sugar levels via training. And my cat is scratching at the door.
Yeah, our cat does that all the time. It's funny. So okay. So actually you talked about your training style, training fasted. Do you leave your last meal? Not say you don't need it, but do you make your last meal a high carb meal just to give you maybe that little extra benefit of energy the next day for that workout?
It's my second highest carb meal of the day. Yeah. So my highest carb meal of the day is directly post workout. I get roughly 250 grams of carbs from cereal. So, I mean, that's like a big ass bowl of cereal. And then before bed right now, I'm consuming about 85 grams of carbohydrates. I have lowered my carbs. I'm down to 400, but I've upped my fats and my protein just to see if it makes a difference. I'm getting plenty of protein. A lot of people are going to be like, your protein's too high.
Yeah.
Because I'm consuming 350 grams right now, but actually it's improved my digestion. As you know, I have Crohn's. So that's something that I've really kind of taken into account here, and just playing around with things, having a higher fat and a higher protein so far for the past few weeks has really seemed to help.
Yeah.
Although I did have that one flare up, I think that was just going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, to answer your question, I do have a relatively decent amount of carbs before bed with berberine to keep that impact a little bit lower.
So your carb amount, you said, or sorry, not your carb amount, your protein amount is around like 350 a day?
Yeah, so that's, I mean, if you think about it, it's still less than 2 grams per pound of body
I say
weight
that's what I was
because
gonna ask you. Yeah.
yeah, I'm 230 pounds. So
Yeah.
you know, like it's still about 1.6, 1.7, which is high, but I like protein anyway, and I have a lot of turkey. So
Yeah. Yeah. I got a lot of turkey to eat. Yeah, I know. I tell people, they ask, how much protein you consume a day, and I know, it's very dependent on each person, but ours is 245, and I tell people that, and they almost flip out, like, what are you doing? Like, you can't digest all that. Like, you know, uh your liver and stuff is gonna have some issues, blah,
nonsense.
and all this other stuff. But like, if you do the math, like I'm weighing say 185, so that's what is that, like 1 point, basically what yours is, like maybe 1.5 grams
Yours
per
is
pound
under
body weight,
1.5
under
because we're
1.5.
going to walk you up to roughly, my goal is to get you around 265 because that'll be about 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we're already I bumped you to 255 today with your
Mm-hmm.
check-in. So I mean, we're getting there, and then we'll start playing around with a little bit more carbohydrates. I don't think you respond very well to carbs because it seems like every time I bump your carbs, you look a little bit more watery. I don't know if
Oh
you've
yeah.
noticed that, but we'll see. I'll probably give you a little bit more fat, but that's what I've been kind of playing around with for you.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the daily recommendation is like 1 gram per pound of body weight, and these are probably, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, that
It's
they,
much lower than that.
oh, is it even lower than that?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's
Has that
like
changed?
yeah, I mean, when you're talking about bro science, 1 gram per pound of body weight is what like the bro scientists said.
Yeah.
It's actually closer to research is showing like zero point 0.8 is sufficient,
Okay.
for muscle gain. But for like regular population, they're even talking like zero point 0.5 per pound of
Oh,
body weight. I mean,
wow,
think about
really?
it. Would you give a 350-pound obese person 350 pounds of protein or 350 pounds, 350 grams? They probably have like, they're 50% body fat. That means that they're roughly, 160 pounds lean.
Hmm.
All they really need is 160 to 170 pounds. But if we're talking for diet adherence and for them to be satiated, a higher protein intake has been proven in studies to help with hunger and drive down overall caloric intake because of satiety factors. So,
Hmm.
but
Yeah. No, that makes
yeah,
sense.
it depends on the person.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, eating this, spiking up my protein a little bit, I felt fine. Doesn't do much. I feel like I'm recovering well and all that kind of stuff. So, like you said, depends on the person. But in my situation and Billy's situation, having it in that range where we're at now isn't like hurting us. So, and I know a lot of people think it is, but
My blood work
like
looks
anything,
fine.
yeah, like anything, show us a study where that's gonna really hurt someone. And yeah, like you said, blood work, everything looks good. So, um, gosh, what the heck was the question? What did we bring
Protein
this up?
protein intake.
Was that what it was? Oh, purpose of carb cycling. Dang, how did we get here?
I don't know. We started talking about protein.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, anyways, whoever asked that question, I hope that kind of helped a little bit. I know we went on a tangent, but it's all good information. This one I get a lot, and this one actually kind of irritates me, but for you guys listening, hopefully this is, if you're one of those people that hate on people that do this, hopefully this helps give you a little insight. I get a lot, why do I have a coach if I'm a coach? So some of you guys listening, you might not know, I'm a personal trainer. I have some clients I personal train, and people think I'm a coach. I should be able to do my own coaching for myself. So why am I paying someone to coach me? And Billy's my coach, for you guys listening. And I mean, you'll look at people with the most experience they have, and they still have a coach. Billy knows a ton of information. He still had a coach for stuff that he wanted to do. And maybe you can give more insight on this, but I don't see anything is wrong with learning from someone that is above you. And so I don't know.
So an outside perspective, when we're talking in the realm of physique sports, is absolutely essential in my opinion,
Mhm.
because the mind games, like we said, they're very prevalent among individuals with, and I'm going to say that the majority of us do have some level of body dysmorphia, whether it be a very minor amount or an extreme amount for some of us, that when we look at ourselves, we don't actually see what others see. And when you, and it could cause us to shoot ourselves in our own foot and spin our wheels. Like I have trouble with seeing any of my abs disappear. I feel like, up, pull back on calories, pull back. But someone else will be like, no, no, no. Your goal is to gain more mass. You got to stay the course, trust the process, and they'll help reinforce those better behaviors instead of us being overly analytical and neurotic. So I think that, at least from that perspective, it's really important to have a coach, even if your knowledge base is very high.
Yeah. Like me, I know some info, like a good amount. But that's just like a tiny bit compared to how much is out there. And so I don't know, the whole process for bodybuilding, of like how to do a lot of things. I've learned a lot. So me working with Billy, a lot of people say, you're your own coach, but I've learned way more than I have working with Billy than just working on my own. And I've even mentioned to Billy when I was on my last prep, there's were times where I was like, man, I look like crap. I don't think, is this really how this is supposed to go? Because I feel like when you're cutting down and getting to that shredded process, there's a time frame where you just feel like you don't look good, right?
It happens a lot. Yeah.
And that happened to me. There was a time frame of that. And if I was coaching myself, I'm sure I would have had different plans for what Billy had. And he was like, continue the process, keep working through it. And, the next week we got better and better and better, and everything was working well. But if I didn't have Billy looking at me from an outside view, I would have made some big mistakes. So definitely, like what Billy said, if you're doing a sport like this, have a coach. And I don't know, tell me your opinion on this. I think when you have a coach, you have to have a coach that's not at the same level as you. Like if I had a friend of mine, say, we're both 24, we both graduated from college, both have the same amount of info, I think it's not quite right for him to coach me. I need someone that I kind of look up to, that's like at a higher standard, way more experience. Would you agree with that?
It can be helpful, but I wouldn't make that the determining factor of whether or not you're going to work with a coach. I feel like
Okay.
some coaches that are super high level even don't fit with certain personalities, and they're not going to jive very well with someone. So I think it really does come down to finding the right fit, even if the experience level is pretty much the same or even a little bit higher. But there is definitely a benefit, like you said, from learning from someone with a little bit more of a knowledge base than you have.
Yeah. Okay. So after a show, what is the first macro you increase? I know this is probably very hard to answer because it's probably dependent on the person, but is there a set answer for this?
It depends on how you dieted the person down. If you depleted carbs very low, definitely a carbohydrate. But if you got that fat down to what I call the danger zone, which is like under 15 to 12% of overall calorie needs for the day. So you're talking maybe 30, 35 grams in some athletes. I would certainly get that fat right up to about 50, at least 50, get it up there, help restore some of the hormonal balance, or try to balance out the hormones. Because even if you're on exogenous testosterone, androgens, that's still going to have an ill effect having fats that low, because brain function is going to be acutely disrupted by having too low of fat intake, because that's basically the energy resource for your brain and being able to think and process information. So typically I would say a combination perhaps of carbs and fats.
Yeah. At first when you were describing that, I thought you were gonna say 12 to 15 grams of fat. I was like, oh
No,
my,
I've seen
I
some people go that low, and I'm like, no, that's
seriously.
bad. Yeah, like I know John Jewett knows what the heck he's doing, but there were some days where his trace fats were about 15 grams.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, you probably would feel like death, right? I mean, that
Oh,
had to feel
without a doubt.
awful.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be tough. How low did mine get? Like maybe what, 35 at the lowest?
No, we got you down to 40,
About 40? Yeah. Okay.
which was low. I didn't want to go any lower than that.
Yeah. How much time we got? It's about two. So you want to do one more question?
Yeah.
All right. Let's pick a good one. Let's see. All right, here's a good one. This is actually a good question. Whoever asked this, thank you for asking this, because this is a really good question. Should you always be sore after a workout, or is it okay if you aren't? Are you still making, are you still going about the workout correctly if you're not sore the next day or two?
Yeah, soreness is not necessarily an indicator of growth. There's something called the repeated bout effect, where basically muscles do become adapted to a certain stimulus, a certain movement pattern, certain sort of contractile tissues will not actually exhibit soreness after a training session, but that doesn't mean that you aren't going to stimulate muscle protein synthesis to a rate where you're actually going to experience some muscular hypertrophy. So the short answer to that is no. But the long-winded answer is, if you are too sore after a workout, I think that you're actually damaging the muscles too much to a point where they're probably not going to be adequately recovered for your next bout of exercise. But I mean, personally, I don't really get sore that often. Like I'll feel a little bit of tenderness, typically after a good quad session. I can't remember the last time my biceps have been sore. My lats haven't been sore in probably a good 6 to 8 weeks. There was when I switched up the exercise order and execution, they were pretty sore towards the end of my last mesocycle. So no, I mean, you don't have to be sore so long as, so if you want to know whether or not you're going to be making growth, check these boxes. Are you getting roughly 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week? Check that box. Good. Are you training in rep range of roughly 5 to 30? Check that box. Are you taking those sets close enough to failure where maybe you have 2 or fewer reps in the tank? Check that box. Are you getting enough recovery? Check that box. Guess what? You're making progress regardless of whether or not you're getting sore.
Yeah, earlier on in my sessions, like I would be that guy if I wasn't sore the next day. I'd be like, wow, that sucked. I didn't do a single
Yeah,
thing. I
I was there
didn't
too.
benefit
Yeah.
at all, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. But hey, that proves our point, having a coach with an outside eye that if they have you on a certain workout plan, and let's say you set up a workout plan for yourself and you're too sore and you're not recovering like you need to, you're not performing like you need to, having the outside eye with a coach, they can reevaluate that and help you with that recovery process to make the best gains you can, right? So that kind of proves our point in some way that a
Yeah.
coach is beneficial.
Just to kind of add to that, I think you brought up a good point. If you're too sore, drop 2 sets, right? Because you could always add more sets. I always think that it's important to start with the minimum effective volume and then move up from there if need be. So 10 sets per week, start a mesocycle around 10 sets per week. If you don't know what your max recoverable volume is, start around there. And if you feel like you're totally well recovered before your next session, add a set. Then take it to 11 or 12 sets per week. Don't jump right up to 20, and then find that threshold where it becomes a little bit too much and take notes. This is why logging your workouts is absolutely essential, because then you can look back at that data and design your next mesocycle that's going to fit the amount of volume that's, optimal for you for growth.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And some clients I train, they'll come in and it's kind of funny. They're like, this is all new to them. Like they haven't done this weighted type stuff. When I get their past experience of stuff they've done, it's like some sports, swimming, all that kind of stuff. So they come in and sometimes I'll get guys, they're like, all right, let's go. Like they're excited. You can kind of tell they're ready to get in it and just push as much weight as they can. And I have to explain to them, I'm like, look, this is new to you. If you want to actually be able to say do this workout and then be able to work out again with that same muscle part in like, I don't know, 3 days, we can't go balls to the wall your first session in. Like it's funny, you have to kind of explain that to them to get them to realize like your body needs to go through somewhat of a process to realize kind of what you're doing. It's a whole different ball game. It's something you never put. It's a different kind of stress you put on your body. So got to start out slow and increase as you go. But that's why your point makes sense, is like writing it down, seeing where you were last week to this week, what you need to change. So that could be a game changer.
Yeah, if the heaviest thing you picked up in the past 2 years is a grocery bag, I don't think you should be slinging around a barbell as hard as you can the first time you actually, learn the movement pattern, get your, figure out how to activate the muscles that you're targeting. Don't just throw stuff around and then, because your joints are going to be taking the most of that impact because they're not ready for it. So yeah, I totally agree with you 100% there. Start a little bit small and increase from there.
Yep. And actually, you brought up a maybe a point we could end on, and we'll go through it real fast. Um, some people ask me, when you're using dumbbells, say you're doing a flat dumbbell bench. I know we're both a huge fan of feeder sets, and basically it just say your working set is at the 80-pound dumbbells. Don't just jump to the 80s. Like you will get injured, stuff will not feel good. You need to prime your body slowly to get up to that weight. And it doesn't need to be like 20 reps, 10 reps. Just do, a few reps as you go up. Now the question with that is, how much weight do you go up? Say your first warm up is 30 pounds. Do you go to 40, then 50, then 60? Is there a certain range that you jump without using too much energy?
Depends on how I'm feeling for that day. I'm a little bit older than you, so some days it takes me a little bit longer to warm things up. But I mean, for example, my working weight would typically be around like the 125s or the 130s.
Mm-hmm.
So I would typically, bang on a set with like the 30s, get blood in there, 12 reps, something like that. I'd probably go to the 55s, I'd do like 6 reps. I'd probably go to the 80s, do a few reps. I'd probably go to the hundreds, do 2 reps, and then I'd grab like my working weight.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Depending, but
All
that's
right.
pretty much, if I were to just think about it really quick, that's probably what I would do.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. Well, Billy, I appreciate you hopping on again, and appreciate everyone for submitting questions. Can't even talk. But yeah, guys, check out Billy's Instagram as well. We just actually, if you want to go ahead and say what it is again for
Yeah,
everyone.
it's at Billy Builds Fitness on Instagram. Go ahead and add me, send me some DMs. Please, no nudes. Tired of those.
Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, check out Billy's coaching. He coaches me. He does great. Recommend him. So check out his stuff and just chat with him, and see if this is maybe something you guys want to move forward with him. So yeah, Billy, thanks again for hopping on. We'll do it again soon.
Of course, looking forward to it.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.